Tracks Talk. Breaking down Disciple songs every month. A Rebel Society exclusive. Prepare for impact.
All right. What's up, folks? It's Josiah here with Tracks Talk. Per usual, today I'm in San Diego, California, on tour on an off day, and it's a good time. It's beautiful out, but here I am to talk to you about the song Reanimate. And Reanimate is a very cool song that we are all fans of. I hope you are. It's the heaviest song on the album, and you know, it's fun because it's, at the end of the day, it's really a band song more than anything else, and it's just a lot of guitars, bass and drums are kicking the whole time, vocal centric. So if you look, let's look at the track count really quick. This is the session in Pro Tools. We've got 65 tracks, which sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, 13 of those are drum tracks right off the bat, and then we've got how many guitar tracks? 32 through 47, so 15 guitar tracks, and then 10 vocal tracks of normal vocals, 8 tracks of the kids choir that we'll get to later, 3 bass tracks, 1 keyboard, 3 808s, which are like the sub drop hits, and then 10 tracks of production, which again might sound like that's a decent amount, but it's really not. When you look at the actual waveforms across the board of the song, there's not much going on in production land. All these blue tracks are production elements, or little transitional impacts or whatnot. So if you look across the song, there's just not a lot going on. And again, that speaks to my point that this song is more of a band song and not really, there's not a ton going on in production world, but there are very tasteful things here and there that we'll talk about, and the song actually starts with something like that. So let's just start at the beginning, because there's really no place better. There's this texture that we found that it's from Omnisphere, which is a awesome plugin, and I just call it underwater. That's what it kind of sounds like. Check it out. Very subtle. So that's it. That shows up a few times in the song, in the beginning, and then in the bridge, and then at the very end of the song after the band comes out. So it's there underneath, and then of course you have the so there's that. And that is a synth, I believe, that Andrew made to mimic the guitar line. And he just put a tremolo on it. And then I added these little guys. Fun. So it's just a little bit of tension building there. And then, of course, Joey kicks in with the actual snare drum, which is awesome. Drums are just top notch on this song. Joey went off. Once the song kicks in, you got bass and guitars right away. Of course, it's just one guitar part doubled, so left and right. But you might look at this and say, "Oh, there are 4 tracks though." That's because each track, each part is tracked on 2 different microphones. So we would run into the guitar amp, and then the guitar cabinet or speakers would have 2 different microphones on them. And that gives you 2 different characteristics of the tone. So here is the one microphone. Here's the other one, same part. A little darker. See what I mean? But it all comes together to sound really good. So here's the 2 parts combined. Bass. Sounds pretty dang good on this song. This song's also in drop G sharp, which is the lowest tuning on the whole album, and lowest tuning on any Disciple song ever before now. So we decided to go that low It's actually, the reason was because the song was originally, if you've watched the story behind the song for Reanimate, which also came out for this month, then you would know that this song was originally intended for our Heavier Side project. And, you know, so what ended up happening was Kevin wrote this song with Andrew, and it ended up being such a strong song that we decided to pull it into Disciple World as opposed to using it for this other project, which I think was the right call because it's a really good song. So I think that's why it's in that lower tuning, is because it was originally intended for something, you know, this heavier project.
I am the love, I am the rain, I am the violence, I am the hate, I am your genocide, I am your child defiant, I am your stand, I'm everything that you did.
Kevin sounded awesome. So just drums, bass, and guitars, you know, basic band arrangement going into the chorus. And we've got a little impact happening here. So if you heard that little, almost like a deep shotgun blast.
I'm everything that you did.
Moments like that just kind of make the pause more dramatic, which I like a lot. So then, once the chorus kicks in, there's actually a couple new guitar things that happen, or start happening, I should say. And one of which is this single note baritone guitar that's just playing the root notes of the chords as opposed to the full power chords. So you got power chords happening on the rhythm tracks. That's what it sounds like. Sounds great. What happens is you lose a little bit of the attack when you're playing fuller chords because there's just so much harmonic note happening. And so we tracked this single note baritone, all downstrokes. And that really keeps the aggression and the momentum going. So here's without the single note. Here's with. You can tell the difference right away. It just has so much more dun, 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 dun. It's just more driving, but you kind of need both. And so that also helps just give the chorus a lift and open up a little more. And then there's a lead part that is actually pretty buried in the final mix of this song, which maybe is the right call, but check out what it sounds like. I think it's really cool. Me and Andrew found this tone and added some flange and modulation effects as well as a little bit of delay. Check it out. Sounds like Korn or Primus or something to me, like really like kind of trippy guitar sound. And so under the chorus, so it's there, but again, I think in the final mix, it's pretty hard to hear that. You might hear the very first note, but it kind of gets lost after that, which, again, trying to make a really tough, aggressive song, so some of those more textural guitar parts can kind of pull away from that if they're too loud. But I do love how it feels when you have the guitars and bass just playing together in this chorus. Check it out. Sounds really awesome to me. And then moving forward, so that's the chorus. Kevin has a lead and a double vocal here.
Give me the penalty that you deserve for these crimes against humanity. Every single thing that I abhor is what I have become.
Yeah, but what's really cool is there's a low harmony happening that you might not be able to hear too well until now.
Give me the penalty that you deserve for these crimes against humanity. Against humanity. Every single thing that I abhor is what I have have become is what you are no longer.
Love that low harmony. And then you got the more intense kind of screamy vocal track doing the in-betweens.
Every single thing that I abhor is what I have become. Is what you are no longer. Reanimate, reanimate innocence.
So it's cool because you got, if you can see here, you got the two lead vocals doubled and then the harmony, and then you got the doubled response vocal. And then you got more of this, and then this is the response, more of this, a response, and then for the first time at the end of the chorus, the response vocal actually joins in on the line reanimate innocence, and it's like a scream harmony.
Reanimate, reanimate innocence.
Which is awesome. A really cool idea. And then going into that little turnaround, another little impact hit.
Innocence.
Something subtle, but again, just kind of adds some drama.
Innocence.
One of my favorite Joey parts on the record, right there. Love that. It's just so like air drummable, if that's a word. And then verse 2. Here's where it gets crazy. So that was me and Joey's idea to do that little chop section there, kind of give it a kind of a modern production element, surprise almost. And so we literally just chopped out space on the bass tracks here, as you can see. Same with the guitar tracks. And on those, we pitched down the second and third notes to do that little descending feeling. Womp, womp, womp. And then on Kevin's vocal, we keep the original ones. We did chop off the tails of those just to make the pauses more dramatic. But then we lowered or did the pitch shifting on a pair of his vocals also and layered them in right here. So all together. And then all together. And the last thing we did to add impact to that was we did a synth, like a really dirty synth, just playing those three notes. Just really something, you know, tiny, but it makes a big difference. A cool swell here. Underwater sound comes back underneath everything. Something just really, again, just subtle, just kind of texture. And then one of my favorite sounds in the song is this, what we called like space audio. But it's basically this cosmic reverb, long reverb that is taking just, I believe it's just a clean strummed guitar playing just the A minor chord or A minor 9 maybe. Check it out. It sounds like this. It's really cool, just kind of ethereal, moving reverb that changes notes and just kind of keeps going. So we tracked one for the left side and one for the right side. That's why your ears, it sounds different on either side. And then underwater noise as well is happening. Just kind of giving some depth. And then, of course, on top of that, you have the bass guitar playing the main riff, which is not something we do often, is having a bass play like a main thing in a song. And I'll get to that in a second, but here's what it sounds like. There's also a high guitar playing with a really cool tone, playing an affected kind of spacey part. it sounds like this. Love that tone. So originally we were gonna play that bass part on a guitar, and we actually tracked it that way. So that's on a regular guitar, baritone guitar. Sounds fine, right? Sounds just fine. But Travis had the idea to play it on bass instead. It's a little more ominous, understated. Of course, Kevin's vocal comes in here.
Has become sin for us. He who knew no sin has
Kevin jumps the
become
octave.
sin. He who knew no sin has become sin for us. He who knew no sin has become sin for us.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. And then, this is probably the most fun part of recording this song. So I had for a while envisioned having like a choir of some kind singing along with Kevin in that second half. And I thought it would be really creepy and cool if it was a kids choir. And unfortunately, it turns out, it's harder than you would think to wrangle up dozens of kids to come sing a part for you in the studio. We actually didn't really try because I had this idea instead, and I was like, if this works, this will be perfect, and if it doesn't work, then we'll figure it out later. But me, Andrew, and our friend Dane, who you've heard on other songs on the album so far, he sings a lot of harmonies for us, and he was at the studio with us one night. The three of us had done a lot of work that night. We were in the hot tub at Travis's studio, and I was like, man, I really want to get these kid vocals tracked. Can we pretend to be a kids choir and see what happens? So we did 8 takes that you can see right here of this part, and the whole idea, I was like, all right, guys, so everyone just pretend you're a little kid, kind of like turn your mouth smiley a little bit and sing like kind of weakly, like you don't know how to sing. Which is easy for some of us. No, I'm kidding. But here's what it sounds like just all together. And it's also like we weren't trying to sing it really good, just like sing it very like solemnly.
He who knew no sin has become sin for us. He who knew no sin has become sin for us.
So like in that, when you're hearing it by itself, just dry like that, you can kind of tell like, okay, that's like not really kids. But when it's mixed and it's got a lot of reverb on it, which is how we got it mixed, it totally does the effect, I think. But it is funny to like isolate each one of these.
He who knew no sin
If it's some really whispery,
has become sin for us.
It's just 3 grown men and they're or around the age of 30 pretending to be little kids.
He who knew no sin, he who knew no sin has become sin for us. He who knew no sin has become sin for us.
It's like even on that one, it's like bad note on purpose, but it adds to the effect of like a bunch of kids who are just kind of like singing it, not super professionally.
Has become sin for us. He who knew no sin has become sin for us.
So right there, we got an 808 hit. Boo. And then the space audio that's been kind of building slowly this whole time starts to crescendo before a little cut. Which is really cool. Love that. part comes in here. Really cool part Andrew wrote. And then one of them jumps to a harmony. And then solo. Little guitar harmony comes in just at the end there. And so that just drops down to the one single note baritone guitar that we listened to earlier, just for that little down section. And there's also a reappearance of the little electronic blip percussion from the beginning of the song. Just little subtle things. Again, just keeping cohesion, because when you hear something that you heard before, it kind of makes this subconscious connection in your brain, which I think is really cool. So then, the last thing that really happens that's new, when the chorus turns around here, when the chorus turns around, I think it just adds so much attention. Check it out. Beautiful sound. I guess this is new too. Yeah, there's nothing else. Just this dissonant ending part on guitar that comes in to add some just tension to the final, the double turnaround. Reanimate, in a sense. Just that, very simple, just two notes. Out and you're back to the space audio as well as the underwater sound from the beginning. So again, it kind of bookends the whole song with that underwater sound, that texture. And this originally, as you can hear, it kind of goes for a minute, about 10 seconds. We're gonna let that hang out. Originally, that was the idea, was to kind of just let it hang for a minute, but we then decided that we would love for the album to be very bang, bang, bang. When you're listening to the album as a whole, the sequencing goes very fast between songs, and that's a very intentional thing on our part, and that we convey to the mastering engineer, and that's his job, is to create the transitions between songs. So Cuff the Criminal ends and goes straight into Reanimate. Reanimate has a quick second of that space audio reverb, and then it goes straight into Wake Up, etc., etc. We did that very intentionally, which I think was a cool move. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's there's like I said, it's mostly a band song, so it's really relying hard on just the guitar, bass, and drums. But then you have some of those cool elements like the lead guitar and the chorus with the modulation on it, the underwater texture with the space audio reverb, and then stuff like the kids choir, which was again super fun and kind of a fun experiment. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the song. It's a really fun one to play live. It was the first one we played live from the new album, and it goes over really good. Has a lot of energy in a live setting. So yeah, thank you all for watching as always. And this has been Tracks Talk. Thanks for being part of the Rebel Society. We love you. Let me know if you had any other questions that I didn't cover on this song, or any particular thing that you wanted to know more about. I'm always happy to answer technical questions. It brings me joy.